me see. Okay.
Sunday reset with me. Fresh attitude duvet and sheets.
Okay, today I want to dive into something that I feel like that has taken over social media and our lives, and that's the trend of resets. And what a time to talk about this than the beginning of the year. So, you know, the super aesthetic Sunday resets, the big, bold New Year's resolutions. This is the time on YouTube where everyone is coming out with setting goals for 2025. And I wonder, why do we love these type of videos so much? Why do we love reset videos so much? And do they actually work by watching them? So I want to get into this. So let's talk about, I want to talk about the science behind it for a second, because I find this very, very fascinating. So psychologists call this the fresh start effect. So it's the idea that there's certain moments in times, like Sundays or the beginning of the year or your birthday or any type of time like landmark, gives us a type of psychological reset button. Even though nothing has actually physically changed, this effect helps us separate our past self that we have perceived to have failed and transforms us into going into our future self. So there's this separation that our brain makes between our past self and our future self, and it makes us feel more capable of change. And a part of this is also about control. So life is chaotic, it's all over the place, unpredictable, and the resets make us feel like we're kind of taking the wheel again. So according to this article on behavioral scientists, I believe, so there's a few key features of this fresh start effect. So the key landmarks that I was talking about, the temporal landmarks, so your birthday, the beginning of the month, the week, start of a new job, moving somewhere new. Then 2, the psychological reset, the separation or this perception of a fresh start, even though nothing has actually changed, separating your past failed self to now going into your future self. 3, goal setting. Because we make the separation in our brain, it makes us a bit more ambitious, or it helps us set more ambitious goals, and it motivates us to actually follow through with these goals with this perception of separating our future and our past selves. So it makes us feel a bit more like capable of achieving them. And I've experienced this too, and I found it so interesting that there was a word to describe what it is that's happening psychologically when humans set goals, and why time is so important, why having these landmarks are so important. And the last thing is a behavioral change. So because of this perception of like a fresh start with like a time landmark, it increases your likelihood of initiating and maintaining these really ambitious goals, like building healthier habits or whatever else the goals are. But I find, at least me personally, when I have set goals, I used to be a person that waited for January 1st, that waited for a Monday to start a diet or get my finances together or to journal or to read more, whatever. I have done that, and I find that it's not helpful for me. For me, I feel like I use the time as an excuse to delay what I could do now later. Because what is the difference between December 31st and January 1st? There's really nothing aside from the date and the year. What is the difference between Sunday and Monday? Nothing has changed besides a couple of hours in between. Motivation is not the only thing that is needed to set ambitious goals and to follow through with them. So I think the issue comes, we need to set smarter goals, actually. Goals that are attainable, that are realistic, that have a time limit. I think that's where my problem has been. But anyway, not to digress, that's talking about something completely different. We're talking about reset videos, why we love them so much. So there's been a huge rise of reset videos on social media. I personally am not on TikTok, but sometimes I see TikTok videos on YouTube Shorts and YouTube, and I am a huge fan of reset videos. I will say it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I watch the reset videos, but I don't necessarily feel motivated enough to take action to actually reset my space if I feel like it's been chaotic. But there is a sort of satisfaction that I get from watching the videos by seeing someone complete a task. So it's really interesting that although I am not the one that's physically accomplishing this task, that I get the satisfaction of seeing someone else do it. So I find that I'm just stuck watching these videos. But what am I actually doing with my life? Why haven't I actually taken action to reset my space? Honestly, I hate Sunday resets. I like watching the videos, but I do not like resetting my space on Sundays. I'd rather do it on another day, but I'm gonna get into that later. Okay, so the appeal of watching others create change and achieve a sense of control, especially in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. The desire for control is amplified by social media's constant stream of information and pressure to maintain a curated image. Why do we need to reset so much? That's another question. Why are we resetting so much? I understand like weekly cleaning, tidying up, but a whole reset? I'm not decluttering, organizing every single week. Because why? I love to see it, but I personally, I'm not doing that. Are people actually decluttering and organizing every single week? Because honestly, the thought of that fatigues me. The thought of doing that every single week to my space sounds exhausting. I know it makes for good content. I love the people who do it. But day-to-day people, are we doing this every week? Is this something that's realistic for you if you watch reset videos? Please let me know. Anyway, so I want to also talk about the power of the visual stimulation. The visual aspect of the reset videos, they can stimulate the brain's reward centers, leading to feelings of satisfaction and accomplishment and pleasure, even though we are not the ones performing the actions ourselves, which is so fascinating. So fascinating. When I was doing a wee bit of research for this video, that part really explained or helped me conceptualize why I can watch so many of these videos but feel motivated but it not lead to action, because the visual parts of it is addictive, right? It releases that dopamine constantly. And so I have definitely spent Sundays sitting down watching reset videos or Sunday vlogs and did nothing in my own space. I admit it. I'm guilty. Yeah, useless. So what motivated this video is I found that I was doing this behavior over and over again, and I'm wondering, do other people experience this too? Do we like the reset videos? Do we not like the reset videos? Do we find it helpful? Is it unhelpful? Does it make you feel guilty that you are not resetting your space every single week, that you are not organizing, decluttering something that you're... I just wonder. I think another appealing part of reset videos is it gives us a sense of control. Like I mentioned before, like life can be so unpredictable and so chaotic that I feel like you see someone taking control of their space and it makes you feel like I can do that too. I can do what they're doing. I can take control of my space and reset and get some control, get the wheels of life again. Especially after a really, really hectic week, the satisfaction that I get when I eventually clean is so gratifying, so gratifying. And there's also a connection between watching others declutter and the desire to declutter our own lives. Like it makes us think about, okay, what parts of my life are in chaos and how can I make it better? I feel like this video is all over the place a little bit. Oh my gosh, that's disgusting. A big part of Sunday resets too, especially on social media, is just the aesthetic of it. Because I am sure if you are actually living in your space, most of the time it's a bit messy. It's not dirty, but it's a bit messy. So a big part of it is aesthetics, right? We want to appear or be perceived as organized, put together, not chaotic, right? That's how we want to be perceived most of the time on social media. And I think these reset videos play into this aesthetic lifestyle. Like life is not like that. Like I'm looking around at my place and I'm like, it's chaos. It's chaos that I understand, but it's tidy, it's clean. But is it always gonna be tidy all the time? Nah, it's not. All of these reset videos, they're really, really inspirational, but they're useless if they don't inspire us or motivate us to take action, to actually look deeply into the chaos in our lives, and not just at the things that we can see, like not just at our counters or our bedrooms or our bathrooms or the way that our under our sinks are organized, like to actually look into our lives and organize the chaos, like looking at your finances, looking at your health, like more thoroughly, more intently, really. Like it should be much deeper. I mean, we're just talking about reset videos now. I'm going on a tangent, but sometimes we try to take control of our environment and clean and tidy up so much so that we are actually avoiding other things that may be more valuable and more important. Like, when was the last time you got your lab tests done to see if you have all the necessary vitamins that you need in your life? When was the last time you did inventory of all the things in your home? Like, how often do you use certain things? Do you use everything? Gone through like your finances, like audited your finances, like what am I spending? Actually, what am I spending? Like writing it down, seeing it on paper, seeing the number. How much debt am I in? Sometimes we do these other things to get that satisfaction, to get that small win, which is totally understandable, while at the same time avoiding some of these bigger things. And I think that's something that I notice with me personally, because I can only, for the most part, speak about what I've seen in me. So I can imagine there are people who are dealing or going through the same thing or thinking about the same thing. And so yes, we love an aesthetic home. Yes, we want it to be pleasing to the eye. And that is important. That is valuable, right? If I find that if my space is unorganized and chaotic, that I often feel unorganized and chaotic. And, you know, take that small win, but also look at these other bigger things in your life that no one else can see, that isn't picture perfect, because that's what's really important. So how do we make these resets meaningful and not just a vibe? Like, this is not just a vibe, because when the cameras are turned off, you have to go back to your real life. Okay. So how do we make them meaningful? Start by focusing on what you actually need, not just buying things to buy things just to organize things. Like, why are we buying things to organize the things that we have already organized? Like, you don't need all of those like clear containers like in your fridge. I mean, no judgment at all, but like we don't need those things. Like, actually focus on what it is that you need, what you need, not the things that you want, but the things that you need that would actually simplify your life, that will actually decrease this decision fatigue day to day. So the second thing that I would say is to, and I kind of alluded to this in the beginning, but setting SMART goals. This stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So specific. So making sure your goal is clear and well defined, and as it says, specific. So instead of saying, I want to lose 50 pounds in the new year, setting something more specific. I am going to increase my activity by 30 minutes week by week. Or I am going to increase my water intake by X amount week by week. I am going to follow the Mediterranean diet week by week, right? So setting these more specific goals that will lead to the bigger goal, okay? Measurable. So set something that you can take the data and measure it to see if you're actually setting the goal or reaching the goal. So setting a starting point and a finishing point. So this would be like, yeah, I want to lose 50 pounds in 2025, okay? But in order to get there, we need data. So that would require you to weigh yourself however many times that you would need to. Achievable, that's A. So making sure this is actually something that you can do. Telling yourself, I am going to read 100 books this year. In the previous year, you only read 5. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Can you? I believe in you. Will you, according to the data from previous years? Probably not. So let's lower it a little bit, a bit more achievable. We want to be realistic. Okay. The R is for relevant. So making sure it's relevant to like your life's goals, to your objectives. Like, if something doesn't mean anything to you, then you're less likely to achieve the goal, right? So make sure it's relevant to what's important to you. because you're more likely to feel motivated to accomplish that goal because it aligns with your overall mission and vision in life. And the last one is time bound. So it has to be time specific. If we leave something open-ended, say, hey, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Hey, I'm going to read 150 books. Great. In 5 years, in 6 years, in 2 months. Like when we leave things open-ended, it makes things feel a bit more chaotic and unorganized. So having something time specific. And once you make it time bound, you're more likely to achieve it because the pressure of the time makes you more motivated. I know for me, I read more books this year than I think ever in my life. And it was unintentional at first. I just happened I had a lot of free time this year, so I've read a lot and I actually enjoyed it and I got some of my concentration back. Anyway, I started to check books out of my local library, and for certain books, if they were really popular, I only had 2 weeks to read it before having to return it to the library and being charged for it. So I found that the books that I checked out of the library, which were like big books, I actually read in 2 weeks because I had no choice, because the consequence would be that I would have to pay for it. I was motivated because 1, I didn't want to pay the fee. There's a consequence for it. 2, I'm just a rule follower. And I actually did read the books in 2 weeks. I didn't think that I could do it, but I did it because I had those 2 weeks, because it was time bound. So that's 2, setting smart goals, making sure they align with what you want in life. The last thing that I will say is that you don't need a Sunday. You don't need the first of the month. You don't need the first of the year. You don't need a birthday. You don't need the start of a new job or moving to a new city or getting married or you don't need the start of something huge in order to start. I kind of alluded to this in the beginning. I'm going to come back to it. I no longer start things on the first or on a Monday or on a Sunday. If there's something that's really, really important to me or to you, it is worth starting now. You do not need the first or a Monday or a Sunday or a reset. You can just do it now. Just get up and do it now. Get up and start it now. Even if you do it wrong, just keep doing it. If it's that important, if it's that valuable to you, you'll get up and do it now. I find that now what I do to trick my brain into knowing that I don't need the beginning of a month or a year, I purposely start things in the middle of the week or in the middle of the month. Like if a goal comes up and I'm like, I want to accomplish this, usually in the past I'd say, okay, I'm going to wait until Monday or the 1st or my birthday. Oh, when this happens, then I'll do it. Or there's never a perfect time. The perfect time is literally right now when you've thought of it, okay? Literally right now. So I will start things on a Wednesday just to kind of rewire my brain, right? Because it really is just all in your brain. This perception that you're separating your past self that you perceive to have failed to your future self, it's really all in your mind. You really don't need a date. It is helpful, but you don't necessarily need it. And I want you to get that out of your brain. So something that could be helpful is you purposely start a goal in the middle of the week. Start it on the 6th of the month. Or, I don't know, like just start it when it comes up in your mind. And I feel like that has helped rewire my brain to say, hey, I don't need the beginning of a week. I don't need this specific landmark because my goal is that important to me where I'm going to start it now. I'm just going to start now. That's it. So I feel like this video was, oh my gosh, jeez. I feel like this video was a bit disconjointed because I'm trying side note, I'm trying to read off of a script that I wrote, but also be natural. And it's like, I don't know if a script is actually going to work for me. I think maybe just like an outline or something. But I digress. So what do you think? Do you like resets? Are you a big reset fan? Do you hate them? Do you loathe them? Do you look forward to them? Do you look forward to the beginning of the year? Do you usually set your goals at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the week? Or do you wait for the beginning of the month? Let me know how y'all really feel about reset videos. Because while I love them, I'm not sure it's helpful for me to keep watching them as much as I do, like an unhealthy amount. Go in peace. And happy new year. Happy 2020. Happy 2020. Happy 2025. Okay? I hope you have the best year. I hope you set smart goals and you actually achieve them. Okay? And do not see your past as failures, but just data to be gathered to set better and more specific goals for the future. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.